UIC.
Freedom the people of
Hell yeah.
freedom the people of need. Yeah, yeah. Freedom the people of want. Freedom the people of need. Yeah, yeah. Freedom the people of want. Freedom the people of need. Yeah, yeah. Freedom the people of want. Freedom the people of need. Yeah,
Yeah. Real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road, me say yeah. Real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road. Ready for broke every chain. Then when you free up the people, levitate. Jamaica member, you ever great. I feel burn up the fire upon every snake. Me give thanks in every way. God still a look down.
Hello and good evening. Welcome to another edition of UIC Liberty TV. This is Joseph Patterson. Please let me know if you can hear me clearly. I got myself a new microphone. Can you hear me? Mic check, mic check. Can you hear me clearly? Let me know if you can hear me clearly, please. Just type yes in your chat section to let me know if you can hear me clearly on the live. Wonderful. Very clear. Very good. Very good. So I'm here tonight again to do a Q&A with you. Pretty open, nothing in particular, no particular subject matter, just anything which is important to you I will talk about. So you can type your commentary in the comment section. But good evening to all of you. Good to see you on. Ranger, Mr. Harris, good to see you on. Jarrett, Robin Jarrett, Asha Lawrence, Douglas Harper, good to see you on. Welcome, everyone. A pleasure to see you all here this evening. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to my interview with on Best FM this morning, but I went into Kingston and went on the set and had a lovely chat with Minette Lawrence and the pastor, and really enjoyed myself. They had some very good questions. I see Siobhan Johnson asking, how can I support from the States? Siobhan, you can go on our website at uicjamaica.com and you can contribute through there. You can volunteer, you can donate. Looking forward to your assistance. I see what Mr. Carby or Miss Carby, not sure. Yes, it's my pleasure to do the Q&As. I think it's important for me to appear as often as possible and just take questions and answer them, for you. So let me know what's on your mind. What's on your mind today? What you want to talk about? Anybody? And I'll try to keep them one at a time so I can answer as many as possible. Wonderful to hear from you, Ms. Johnson. Peace and blessings to you as well, Scotty. Good to see you on. So yes, lots of stuff happening in our little beautiful Jamaica here, and lots of challenges, lots of distractions. Douglas Harper says, how will you deal with natural disasters affecting our farms? Very good question. I think we need two things when it comes on to natural disasters. One, we need to be prepared, and two, we need to be insured. So we need our farmers to be properly insured for, with disaster coverage. And we need to make sure that we prepare seasonally for, the potential disasters. You can't know everything, but you know the ones that normally occur. The period where we have the droughts, the period where we have heavy rains. So we can prepare for them, plan for them. And at the same time, we should also try to have insurance coverage in place. Any other questions? Some parts of the Best FM interview are inaudible. Can you upload it on your channel? Yes, very good. The producer noted that and has promised to provide me with the tape so that we can actually rebroadcast it here. They're going to rebroadcast it as well on Monday, Labor Day. So look out for that as well. when are you going to get more aggressive on the campaign trail, says Ranger. Well, Ranger, we're doing the best we can in terms of trying to mobilize both candidates and resources to be able to do, what we need to do. So we're getting cracking. Look out for something coming this week. We have some interesting things lined up starting next week, I should say. So look out for that. You'll see something there, and then we're going to build up from there. Teddy says, what's your plan to achieve food security in Jamaica, and what are your thoughts on sustainable vertical farming? Beautiful. It's funny you mentioned vertical farming. I just recently put up a greenhouse on my property, and I am indeed planning to put in vertical hydroponic, systems to grow in a smaller area, but achieving a high acreage output in a smaller area. I think this will work well across the entire Jamaica, and so that's one of our ways of achieving food security, because because of how damaged the environment is, we have a lot of superbugs and all that kind of stuff. So using greenhouse and vertical farms will help us to achieve greater food security. So great question. There have been some council candidates resigning recently. Can you explain these? Calvin, I wish I could, in terms of, well, I have seen there's a particular gentleman right now, a popular influencer, who has been saying a lot of stuff. I just heard one recently where they're talking about my company and business, and trying very hard to insinuate that I'm doing something untoward. And I don't know, these people are really interesting. The effort that they're putting into trying to take me down, I wish they would find something constructive to do with their time. But running an organization like the UIC in Jamaica is very difficult, because you have to balance so many elements. You have, two main political parties, well funded and supported by the PSOJ oligarchy, and you have some persons who I have rubbed it the wrong way, I guess, when they were a part of the UIC, and they have been relentless, like, going after me like a hawk. And they have lots and lots of stories that they're telling, none of which are true, or if there's any hint of truth, it's twisted to create a falsehood. So yeah, I'm not sure, what it is what is going on with those persons. One, that the main instigator at the moment, I mean, there are the guys in the back, the ones from before, the first set of detractors. They're still there working, on getting things done to undermine me and the organization. But the most recent one that you see, this gentleman is relentless, and it's all because I don't return his phone calls as quickly as he wants me to, and I don't follow his instructions when he sends them over, and I should just do whatever he says. So I don't know why it is so important to him and to them. Why don't they just create their own party? Why don't they just go form a party and provide the leadership that they think is best for the party that they form? But they seem to be really, committed to tearing us down. And why don't you get involved with those striking workers? Push the message. That's how the PNP and GLP do it. Let's do it, please, sir. Ranger, we're not going, well, I am not going to promote the UIC injecting ourselves in. We support the striking workers, but we're not going to inject ourselves into their protest actions unless they invite us to be a part of it. We're not going to just, they may not want to make their protest action a politicized one. You understand? They may not want a political party to come and join their action and turn it into a political action. The people are rising up and demanding better wages and better working conditions and better benefits and so on from their government. It's not a political protest. It's a protest for their economic well-being in terms of employment, their employment contract with the employer. So it's an employer-employee situation. It's a part of the bargaining process that they go through. A part of it is to, is to have strike actions if they so desire. They have not invited the UIC to participate in their protest. In fact, they have not invited anyone. Each of the groups you see going out there is a group that represents their particular interest, whether it's the firemen or the police or the nurses or the NHT, anybody. It's a group that has their own mission and agenda. For us to join a protest, we would have had to engage in dialogue with them and agree that we're going to be a part of their protest action team. So we know what the demands are, we know why they're making the demands, we know what all the issues are, and they agree that they want us to be a part of the voice to carry that out. So in my humble opinion, I do not see it fit for us to hijack or just walk in and take, join a protest action without the persons making it a public call. If they make a public call, then that's a different story. The candidates have to understand that they won't win overnight. It will take at least 10 years to fully stamp your ground. Okay. It's concerning to me because I have been waiting on a party like this from 1983, which I will still support. Hope to meet with you one day. Thank you, Calvin Anthony. The UIC is a strong, solid movement which is under attack. That is it. If you thought for a moment that we were going to get away without being attacked, then you would be naive, right? I mean, all the movements that have come up in time, whether it's Marcus Garvey or any other movement, all of them have been attacked by external forces. So I think it's important for us not to be overwhelmed or not to be discouraged because you have attacks on the movement. There's going to be more attacks. There are going to be many more attacks on the movement. This is just the tip of the iceberg. And I have to be prepared and ready for that. And I am prepared and ready. I am not going to simply fold up camp and run. I'm not going to lay down and play dead. And I'm not going to allow those who want to come in and mash up the party to do so. So I'm going to stand firm and I'm going to make sure that the UIC survives all of these attacks to the best of my ability. And I can't do it alone, obviously. It's all of us together. This is not a one-man show. It's not a one-man done situation, So we're all in this together. Just a second. Sir Wright, I'm on a live right now. You want to join me? Oh, no problem. Yeah, man. So I'll talk to you afterwards. All right. I'm on the live at the moment, taking some questions. No problem. Will do. All right. Yes, my good friends. Let me see if I can get another question. They can't make a public call because they don't know about the UIC. No, we're not saying a public call to the UIC. If they ask the public to join them, the UIC is a part of the public. So then the UIC could easily join them and we would not be interrupting anything. Good evening, Lamar. Good to see you on. It's a long time we haven't spoken. How are things over there? Ken Francis, they could start with their own political movement. Absolutely. Those who don't like my leadership, for example, and it's not the majority, it's a few. I know they're working on them. They're working very hard to see if they can pick off each candidate one by one. They're trying very hard to do that. And to me, if a candidate is foolish enough to fall for what is being done, then the truth is they wouldn't have been a good candidate in the first place. We need persons who can represent the Jamaican people. And for them to represent the Jamaican people, they have to be tough. They have to be able to reason and analyze and pick sense out of nonsense and see what is going on. If you can't see what is going on and you're easily moved and swayed by persons who make outlandish claims and just outright lies, then maybe you're not the right person for this organization. It's a tough job and you have to have a tough skin. I've been called weak, I've been called thin-skinned, I've been called many things, and I expected that. The moment I decided to enter politics, I expected that. My wife warned me. In fact, she begged me not to do this. I heard a discussion just recently, just a while ago. I heard a discussion where they're now examining my business and they are talking about the Capital Club and the loans that I gave to help poor people and small businesses and trying to create a story, some kind of story to say loan shark and all that kind of stuff. It's just pathetic. I mean, to think that I don't know what the objective is. I mean, it's clearly that they want to destroy me and they want to destroy the movement. But what is it that motivates a person to take all of this time to stop a small little movement? We're nowhere yet near the size, and we have not done anything to Jamaica. The UIC has not done anything to Jamaica. We have not stolen billions of dollars in corruption. We have not lied to the Jamaican people. We have not, you know, been in office for 78 years, either in government or the opposition. So it's amazing. But anyway, thank you very much, Mr. Romans, for your congratulations on the interview today. Hi, Tracy Blake. Good to see you. Gloria Morris, good evening to you as well. Yes. Good to see you again. Let me see here now. Yeah, I missed that. Let me see if I can go back up to that one, that question. It says, the fellow was talking about some loan company or investment company that you own, what makes borrowers pays back 10% and that too much. Can you give any highlights on that? Absolutely, Troy. Any loan company that operates give loans at different rates depending on the risk factor involved. I think though this is a setup, by the way, because I think recently one of our candidates came to us for a loan that they wanted to borrow to reestablish their business, and I was so kind enough to ask the candidate to decide what he is able to pay back and when. He sent me what he's willing to pay back and when, and so we said, okay, no problem. Here are the documents. Go and get it filled out and come back, and we'll be happy to assist you. And then it turns out that from what I'm seeing now, I didn't know this at the time, but from what I'm seeing now, obviously it was a setup. They wanted to get a document and to get some information on the document and then to use that and go public and try to discredit me. But no, they're in any given company that gives loan, and I'm not afraid to talk about, loans at varying rates. You have loans at 10%, 20%, 18%, 5%, 30%. There are all kinds of different loan rates, and they depend on the risk that is involved. And any company that is involved in giving loans has to have a risk element priced into the loan, and especially when it's unsecured, because all the loans we give are unsecured loans. And so it's like, yeah. And then they're talking about regulated by who and so on. The whole idea here is plain and simple. The idea is, how can we discredit Joseph Patterson? How can we make sure that we kill this man, and take away the UIC and so on? And that's their goal. And they're going to do everything possible to achieve that. They can't find anything, so they manufacture stuff in order to do that. But let's take some more questions. Let's see what else we have here. Let's see my people doing no ideas. I can't read that. Next question. I know what you're going through. I have been in leadership position, and I know how hard it is to get a people together for a second without a fight. Ken Francis, you wouldn't imagine. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. All I have done is to create an opportunity for persons to come together and to change Jamaica. Obviously, the people who are fighting me, they're fighting to keep the status quo. They would like to keep the system as it is. They don't want to change it. So the only way to do that is to make sure that they destroy me, and by extension, they will hope to destroy the UIC. They even claim they want it. They want to take over the UIC. They said, I think that's the phrase I saw recently is Joe got to go, but it's funny. It's actually funny to watch sometimes. It's not funny, it's a serious matter, but it's really hilarious to see the length that people go to achieve this kind of thing. Eh? If I'm, if I, if I wasn't a different person, I would be so angry and bitter. But I realize that the people we're dealing with, they actually don't even know better. How can you want to stop me and the UIC, having seen what is going on in Jamaica for the last 78 years? They're trying to suggest that, for example, this is for me to get some money. If I wanted to get some money, I would join the JLP or the PNP. That's very easy. Anybody who joins the JLP and PNP and gets elected immediately gets access to all kind of money. Why would I spend 10 years battling in the wilderness to build something which everybody who saw what I was doing initially said that it was a waste of time? There's nobody in my family who said what you're doing is a good thing, go for it, it's going to be great. Everybody said you're wasting your time. My friends, you're wasting your time. My associates, you're wasting your time. This will not go anywhere. You go back and look at the comments that are online from 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Look in our Facebook groups and you see all the derogatory comments, all the hateful comments, you're not going to get anywhere, this is useless, it's hopeless, it's not going to, all these negative comments. And so I've had to endure that all these years in order to come and thief your money now. Listen, by just my business operations alone, I lose money every day because of the UIC. Every single day I lose money. Every single solitary day. When I get up and drive all the way to Kingston and stay over, pay money for hotel. Last night it cost me $17,000 for hotel out of my pocket, plus food. And then I go to the and I sit and I participate in the live broadcast for 2-3 hours, whatever it worked out to be. And then I drive back to St. Elizabeth for another 2.5 hours. And then, unwind and get back into work. You know how much money that cost me? How much business I could have been doing? So it's a massive cost to do this. It just seems simple because when you're on the outside looking in, it doesn't seem like much. It's like, hey, Joe, just get up now, get up and do more things. Do some more things, man. Do some more things, man. Come on, do some more things. Now, there are some people who may not have anything else to do. So, for example, for them, it's just talk. They can just get up and talk. Running the UIC, organizing, dealing with all the different people, all the different internal conflicts. One of the persons who resigned is because of an internal conflict that they're having with somebody else. And they expected me to do more to resolve the conflict, but I couldn't. In the past, I would have stepped in and just did something and solved the matter. But I was accused of being a dictator by those who are now the detractors. And then again, I'm in trouble because I didn't act fast enough. I didn't, just get up and make it happen, because I want to make sure that I said, listen, let due process take its course. Let's have a proper DRC go through the Dispute Resolution Committee. And so once I hand it over to that committee, I back off. Now, when I back off and the committee takes a long time to get the work done, as committees do, then I am blamed for not getting it to happen faster. Now, if I'd gotten involved and get it done faster, later on I'd be blamed for being a dictator, because I would have gotten involved and rammed it through or pushed and gotten it done. And then you might hear I'm playing favorites. I like this one more, or I like that one more. So it's not easy. It's a very, very difficult job, but it's one that I took on, so I took it on to myself, so I have to pay the price. And there's a price for everything. They want to keep the status quo. Yeah, that's correct. Everybody here wishes the UIC the best, says Douglas Allen. You are preaching to the choir. The rest of the country needs to hear the UIC gospel on the ground. Douglas, yes, they need to hear the gospel, and you here need to hear from me as well. And I am on the ground preaching the gospel. I just spent 3 hours on Tuesday, and I just spent, well, it's more than 3 hours. Like, I spent between yesterday and today, the time I spent dealing with the best FM thing. And so it's not going to happen overnight, Douglas. It's not going to be like an immediate, bam, everything happens. It's a process, and we're taking our time and going through the process. I can't create miracles. I can't make the UIC overnight a well-funded organization. I can't make the UIC overnight of all the right candidates and the best candidates and everything in place. It's you can call it a trial and error, because you have to rely on inviting people to participate, hoping that when they participate they will do it well, and that they will be able to function effectively, that they have the skills and competencies that we need, and that they have no hidden agenda and so on. So it says here, the very people who are saying that the UIC is going nowhere are those who are contented with the political system of the two parties that have been strangling the Jamaican economy for almost 8 decades. Very much so. Let me see who said that. They're a brilliant mind. Let me see. Trey, yes, Trey, or Troy rather. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Lion Rule says, if the Jamaica doesn't elect the UIC, Mr. Patterson, then dog nyam the next generation supper. Somebody else here says, I wish nothing but prosperity, good luck, and vibe towards your party. Shame and baggage towards all the craft workers. May them and their bad deed go to, I can't see that it's covered up now. Let me see here. Bad deed go to the pit if they're instigating bad towards you. The bright star of the morning. Thank you so much. The one who are against the UIC are just, it stopped there. Yeah, so there you have it, folks. I mean, I can just tell you straight up, I'm doing the best I can. And it takes time, it takes energy, it takes money. And I too want to do a whole lot more. I want to be on the road more. I want to be connecting with people more. And I'm doing my best for us to get there. Another question, Mr. Patterson, would you be interested in being a guest on the Andre Stevens podcast called Unfiltered Jamaica TV? It would be a good outlet for us to reach more people. You know me, I am always open to any blogger or vlogger or radio station or television who wants me to talk about the people's business, how the UIC aims to make a difference. The man naga pande, don't say that, Kamar. Yeah. Trudy and Mackenzie, I know how you feel, Trudy. I feel awful as well, but don't lose heart. We know why it's happening, You saw what they did to Jesus, eh? If you're a believer, you saw what his own people did to him. You saw what they did to Joseph. His very jealous brothers, threw him into a pit. They plotted to kill him, and they tried to get rid of him. They sold him into slavery, hoping never to see him again. And Joseph rose to become governor of Egypt and spared their lives, saved them and their families. So you never know. So I'm being told by some of you not to appear on the Andre Stevens show. I wonder why. I don't know much about the young man, and I've seen him, do a lot of stuff. A lot of us don't understand what it takes to create and maintain a political movement. That is so true, Douglas Harper. They think it's a dolly house, that it's a plaything, that it's easy. I'm an Earth Angel. Is it okay to talk about the UIC on my radio show in the USA? I don't know what an Earth Angel is, Sylvia, but please go right ahead. Anybody is welcome to talk about the UIC. Anybody. Mr. Patterson, every time when I listen to you talk, the person that come to mind is Marcus Garvey. Only hope you don't make the same mistake. With you, I am sorry. Later. All right, I hope I don't make the same mistakes either, Lloyd Smith. Um, some things though are very hard. Some mistakes are hard not to make. You see, when you're going to work with people, you never know. You never know. For example, today I saw one of our members resign from the National Executive Council. I the member knows what's going on and what we're doing, and that I'm busy and I'm going to this event and I'm going to speak and so on. In the midst of that, the member resigned. The member knew that the member can take up the phone and call me anytime. Could have sent me an email to say, boy, I'm going to resign because of so and so and so and so and so. The member did none of that. The member just got up in the morning and started to send out resignation picture with I have resigned in front of it, for maximum effect. And even go on bloggers, post and start to write stuff. And I'm like, how how does how does one do that? How do you? Today we're talking and we're friends and we're friendly. I am working out strategy with you and we're doing stuff. And then tomorrow morning, when I'm busy getting ready for and going to an interview, you know what my schedule is. I'm very busy going to these things and so on. And then you just get up and you start to post all these things. You know the impact it's going to have. You know it's going to hurt. It's going to have a negative impact on the movement. But you do it. Now, I mean, I can't stop anybody from doing that. It's a free country. If you want to resign publicly, if you want to resign without consulting me, if you want to resign even though I have no idea that you are going to resign or that there is a reason for you to resign, then it's like, whoa, what do you do? So when you're trying to build an organization, you have no idea what people are going to do. I was talking to one of our members today, and the member was saying to me, boy, Mr. Patterson, we need to learn from this, we need to be more careful, how we select people and so on. I said, yes, that's true. We need to be. But you can't know for sure. You cannot know for sure who a person is. You might be thinking that they're one thing, and then tomorrow you see something completely different. Very, very different. So I wouldn't know that this person have these intentions or would ever do something like that. Even if you check the resume, you check references, or you just never know, because some people will just do things. I don't want to say they're evil. I don't know. I don't want to say they're wicked. I don't know. It's just, you never know. Even the persons who recently, when they had the big detractors, and there are things that people did I wouldn't expect. I didn't, I was like, I would not have expected a sensible person, a person who I thought was experienced in business and in life and in understanding human dynamics and organizational behavior and have all of these knowledge. I thought so. I mean, I was wrong in the end, but I thought, based on how they represented themselves, that they had all of these acumen that would allow them to size up a situation properly, analyze what was going on, and make a very good decision. But unfortunately, it was not so. Carby says, I'm sorry if I offended you. Anyone else? My suggestion has oh no, man, your suggestion is welcome. I mean, let me say this clearly, right? Let me say this. Let me say this very clearly. I have nothing against Andre Stevens. I spoke to him once. He was very cordial, very respectful. We had a very good conversation. And he asked me a few questions about the UIC. And I answered the questions he asked. He told me about his activities, some of the things that he was doing and some of the plans he had. And I, was cordial in my response to him and what he's talking about. And I think, if my memory served me right, there was a possibility of us I think he had invited me to participate in an activity. I think it was a feeding of the homeless activities. At the time, my schedule did not allow, so there was a conflict, so I couldn't engage in the activity at the time. I have watched excerpts of some of his videos where he talked about, you know, his activities with the current prime minister and with the party. But I don't know. I don't know what is fact from what is fiction. I don't know what is made up from what is real. So I don't take a position. Now there are some things which raises an eyebrow and you wonder. But I would rather reserve an opinion and not engage in allegations and innuendos, and so I stay clear of that. But outside of that fact, I don't really have any dislike or like for Mr. Stevens. I don't have any reason to get involved in that. If he's running a program and he invites me to speak, to share with his audience my thoughts, my plans, or the plans of the UIC and what we will do if we're elected into government, I don't see any reason why I should say no. If he has a legitimate audience and he's just having he's just inviting me to speak. Now I know that some persons who from time to time invite me to speak or to participate in an interview might have ulterior motives, and sometimes they try to trap me or they try to make fun of me or to ridicule me. You've seen that on CVM before when they really did a job on me, but it's the nature of the job, right? Once you put yourself out there for political office, all these things will come up. Yeah. So I have learned to navigate it and live with it. When I went to Best FM, I did not know what they had in store for me. I just went and I answered the question. No preparation. Stronger Together said, Mr. Patterson, my question to you, when you have a disagreement with a member candidate, how you deal with it? Very simple. I mean, I really don't have any. Let me clarify, right? When we talk about disagreement, when you're working in a team, on a group, so in a group, in our organization, the UIC, we have a National Executive Council. This National Executive Council consists of the following persons: the president, the 3 vice president, the chairman, the general secretary, and the treasurer. That's the 7 core members. And then we have directors for different portfolios. Sometimes we have a director of operations, a director of membership. We have 2 directors without portfolio. And we meet to discuss issues. Now, we have not had any serious disagreements. We simply discuss a topic, and you have different views and opinions on the topic. We discuss it and then we take a vote. And then the majority vote carries. So that's what we have. It's not, I don't consider it disagreement. I consider it that we're just doing what any good government would do. You sit around a table and you discuss a particular issue or topic or subject. And of course, sometimes my position is taken. Sometimes another person's position is taken by the majority. Sometimes neither is taken, and it's a hybrid of 2 or more positions. Because as you discuss, right, and great minds come together, I might have an initial idea A, and then after the discussion it becomes idea A plus 1. Then after further discussion is idea A plus 2. And after further discussion, idea A plus 2 minus 3, and so on. So then we finally get to a position and we make a decision. So to me, that's not a disagreement. If you have a conflict whereby it is not really about, let's say it's a personality conflict now. Maybe somebody is being rude. So somebody decided to be rude to somebody, or to be, I'll give you one example. There was a case where we had one of the members on the NEC. Almost every meeting the member came to, the member would have an alternative strategy that the member wants to put forward. Now, we have already done our strategy session and we designed the strategy and we're now implementing that strategy. Now, this member thinks that the strategy that we decided on and that we have now been implementing, that member feels that that strategy is wrong. And so the member comes week after week after week after week, hammering away at a decision that's already taken, already resolved, and is being implemented. So at some point, I said, this is becoming disruptive. We can't continue to have this because it's taking up so much time of our meeting. Because it's like you're going backwards every minute. You're going backwards to the process of developing a strategy, which we spend months developing. And so eventually I had to call for a vote to remove that person from the board so that we can continue on with implementing our strategy. Now, of course, you might say that's a disagreement, and how did I deal with it? That's how I dealt with it, because it had become disruptive and it was preventing us from now dealing with the issues that the strategy we previously designed was supposed to help us address. So that's an example of how I deal with that particular very, very difficult situation. But usually I don't see any disagreement. I see a discussion, an analysis, a give and take, and then we finally vote on a position. And once we agree on that position, then we go forward with it. Let me see if I can take some more questions here. Somebody wrote, let me see, who is this now? Person said, whoops, sorry. I'm sorry, let me go back to this. Says PNP is on the ropes. Okay, all right. Not going to go back there. So Stronger Together said, example, like what happened between you and Jamaican Carlos. Nothing happened between me and Jamaican Carlos. Jamaican Carlos, like any one of you, is free to send me suggestions, is free to call me, is free to ask me to call them. And in the process, I may take your suggestion, I may not take your suggestion, I may be able to take your call, or I may not be able to take your call. I may return your call, or I may not be able to return your call. I may be able to return your call quickly, or I may not be able to return your call quickly. That's all. So nothing happened between me and Carlos. I think what happened is that I didn't take his calls fast enough, or as many of his calls, or acted fast enough, or acted on any of his directions. And so he might not be happy with the fact that I did not take all of his calls, or I did not take all of his calls fast enough, or I did not act on all of his directives, or I did not act on his directives fast enough. Now, that's not the way any president is going to run an organization. There's no way that I would be able to effectively run this organization if I tried to follow all of your suggestions. If just 20 of you decided every day to send me a suggestion, and every day to give me a call, and every day to expect me to answer your call and follow your suggestion, if just 20 of you alone did that, it would be impossible. Now imagine if 50 of you did that, or 100 of you did that, or 1,000 of you did that. No, as president, I have to reserve the right to decide whose call I'm going to take, when I'm going to take it, how long I'm going to be able to take it, which suggestion I'm going to follow, which suggestions I'm not going to follow, because the vantage point of the person looking on from the outside is very different from the vantage point of the person who sits in the chair of president on the inside. I am seeing 50 different factors. You might be seeing 5 of the factors, 10 of the factors. I'm seeing 50 of the factors. And I have to make a judgment call based on all of those factors, some of which you have no idea about. So you have to allow me to do my job. Now, if you don't like the way I'm doing my job, you don't have to lead a smear campaign. You can simply say, I can do a better job, so I'm going to leave America and come back to Jamaica, and I'm going to offer myself to be president of the UIC. Or you could find somebody else that you know in Jamaica and say this person would be a better president. And then you can make them become a member of the UIC, get their hands dirty, prove themselves, and then at the next election, they can offer themselves and say, I would run against Mr. Patterson for the presidency. Now, that to me is the ethical and moral and decent thing to do. But to simply decide that you're now going to destroy my character, tell lies, spread innuendos, and seek to pull people away and destroy the organization in the process. Now, that is just untenable and speaks to something very sinister, something deeply sick and unfortunate. But, anyways, we continue. Let them try calling the current PM and so on. Yes. Like a puppet on a string. Yeah. Douglas Allen says, I disagree. That would mean that there is no Congress happening then, as mentioned in the acronym UIC. Where C is for Congress? Douglas Allen, I don't know what you mean. When you say there's no Congress, what do you mean by that? The United Independence Congress has a structure. Our structure embeds the responsibility of running the organization in between member congresses by the president and the NEC, right? So I'm elected by the members of the Congress to be the president of the Congress. The same membership elects a body called the NEC to be the governing body in between meetings of the members. There is absolutely no organization that is going to be effective, that could operate with the entire Congress, meaning the entire membership, because I think that's what you're saying, Douglas Harper, making decisions every day. That's impossible. So if we have 6,000 members and they all decided that they want to give me a suggestion and I must follow it, that would be ridiculous. That would be impossible. It's insane. So what we have instead is we have a smaller subset of the membership called the NEC, and we have an executive, a chief executive that we have elected to deal with operational matters. And we have a group of persons with individual responsibilities. For example, we have a committee called the DRC, the Dispute Resolution Committee. Now, all that has to happen when there is a dispute, this is not now just a normal course of business, a dispute, and that is referred to the DRC. I am not the chairman of the DRC. I am an ex officio member of the DRC, which means I am automatically a member of the DRC to sit in on the deliberations. And then if, for whatever reason, I am party to a dispute, then I would not sit as a deliberator, but rather I would be one of the parties bringing a cause or being asked to respond to an issue in the DRC, right? So that's how it works. Now the DRC is therefore independent of me and of the NEC and operates as the dispute resolution mechanism for the organization. Now, if a member brings an item to the DRC and the DRC doesn't act fast enough on that item, I am not responsible because I don't have a veto. I don't have an overriding power of the DRC. I do not control the DRC. It is a subset of the members' Congress, and the chairman of the party is the chairman of the DRC unless he is a party to a dispute. Then he would have to recuse himself from the chairmanship, and in which case I would act on his behalf. And if both of us are party to a dispute, then both of us would have to recuse ourselves, and the NEC would have to choose a replacement for us to sit as the officiators of this committee. Now, when you're trying to build an organization in Jamaica, like what we're trying to build here, oftentimes the persons you're working with are not necessarily skilled and trained in governance. So they need to learn. The question becomes, will they have the patience to learn? Will they have the humility to learn? Right? Will they allow themselves to be taught? Because the fact of the matter is, many persons that are involved in the UIC are not necessarily persons who have a lot of board experience. They may have a lot of experience in something else, but they may not have board level experience where they have sat on many boards, or they may even have board experience, but on boards that are not of the highest caliber. So they don't fully understand, for example, Robert's Rules of Order. They may not understand, good governance principles fully. And so they have to learn, right? And the question is, will they allow themselves to be taught? Somebody says here, Jamaican Carlos coming like a, okay, I won't read that one. Mr. Patterson, I need a job. How do I apply for a job within the UIC? Okay, thank you, Rita Lynn, for asking. Currently, the UIC is not employing, so we don't have any jobs available right now that you can apply for. The UIC has only one paid position right now, one paid position. The only person who is being paid in the UIC is the admin assistant, who is also, so this is the administrator that has been assisting myself with running the organization. Okay, this is the only person who is being paid. That person is also serving as our treasurer at the moment. So we have one person who is being paid in the organization. Contrary to what you might have heard, going around and buzzing around, one person, Mrs. Patterson and myself, are not paid at all. We're not paid even 1 cent. Now, the board, the National Executive Council, recently passed a motion that we should be paid a stipend of $167,000 each to be better able to carry out our functions. But we're not being paid, and we have not been paid, and we have never been paid. Myself and my wife have never taken a cent from the organization in payment. On the contrary, though, what we have done is to pay out thousands and thousands of dollars on behalf of the organization. And over time, we have been reimbursed some of the funds that we have paid out. From 2013 to, I think, October, from 2013 to about October 2021, Mrs. Patterson and I have never been reimbursed for anything. Just add up all of those years. Just add up the years. Okay? All the things that we have done and paid for. We have done some tremendous amount of work. Tremendous. We have paid for people to do work all over the place. Paid every cent for them to travel, for meals, for food, all kind of expenditures, printing, all kind of stuff. We have paid for over the years, and we have never been reimbursed until October of 2021. We have gotten some reimbursements. Sometimes, for example, we would put out $350,000, $400,000, $500,000 for an event, or for T-shirts or whatever. We spend that money today, and then over time, as the T-shirts are sold, then we're reimbursed the cost of those shirts. Any profits remain with the UIC. But today I live to see a lot of accusations, a lot of innuendos, a lot of word dropping, all designed to get you to believe that somehow Joseph Patterson is somehow doing something untoward. It's amazing, but it's not what do you call it now? It's not unfounded in terms of the history of what has happened to all of those who have gone before us to try to bring change to our people. It's normal actually. Derek Green says, I love the strength and determination these UIC members have. Keep it up. Love you all. Ken Francis, thank you, says, I strongly believe you guys should be compensated. You spend a lot. Absolutely. And I make no bones about it. There's no way, let me tell you this, there is no way that the UIC is going to survive without paid staff. No way. We must have a core contingent of staff that can carry on the day-to-day work, day-to-day, not volunteers alone, because volunteers can only do so much. Then they have to go back to their regular work. So if you're planning an event, if you're planning anything, and you're going to wait on volunteers to be available to plan and to follow up and to check, it will always be less than it could have been. It will not be as effective as it could have been. And so recently I asked the board to approve the hiring of the director of operations, who is now our general secretary. So if all goes well, on June 1st, we will have 2 persons hired. So one will be the treasurer and the other will be the general secretary. So we will have 2 persons hired by June 1st. And last night, was it last night? Last night, I made an appeal for persons to commit, or to get persons to commit to giving the equivalent of $25 per month. And I am very happy to announce that a number of persons, many persons said yes, they would get that done. They would participate in that. They would push for that to happen. We want to have 1,000 persons giving $25 a month. So that way we'll have $25,000 a month to work with. That will be a massive injection for us. It will allow us to do many of the things you're asking me to do now, which I'm limited in doing. So we're going to work towards that. And I must tell you, I woke up this morning pleasantly surprised, because a number of those persons who said yes last night immediately started to donate this morning. From as early as I think 3 o'clock, I saw 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and it just started, rolling from there. So a number of persons are now logging on to do the $25 per month. And of course, it doesn't have to be US dollars. That's the equivalent. You can give, pound sterling or Canadian dollars or whatever country you're in, right? That's fine. But I am pleased to see the response. And I've made it very clear that the only way that we're going to be able to do this is if we fund it. If we make the mistake and kill this party and send it to go take money from the same oligarchy under the same terms that is now happening, there's no point in having a UIC. There's no point in having a UIC if it's going to become an ordinary political party that takes funding from those who want to control the country rather than liberate the people, right? Anyways, let me read another question. This is why we need at least 1,000 members donating 25. Yes, Douglas Harper, correct. The number of internet users in Jamaica increased by 6,935 between 2020 and 2021. Internet penetration in Jamaica stood at 55.1%. Thank you for that, Douglas. Silver Cat says, Mr. Patterson, our charity has sent an email to you, to your website, so we can help with signs, banners, etc. But you have not responded. We're trying to help in some ways. Silver Cat, I'm so sorry to hear that. Could you please resend it and address it and put my name at the top? And I know that our admin person should be listening in right now. Please make sure I get that email. I'm so sorry, Silver Cat. My sincere apologies. I'm not sure why that was missed, but we'll follow up on it. Ken Francis says, my commitment is sure. Jay says, can you repeat the info for donation, please, again? Yes, Jay Graham. Not sure what the info is that you heard, but you can go to our website at uicjamaica.com, uicjamaica.com, and click on, let me see if I can show it here. I should be able to show a screenshot of it. Let me show you here. I'm going to try. Let me see if I can get in from here, and I will show it to you. Let me see here. Let me see if I can do this. Please bear with me. I'm going to try to show you the screen where you can, donate, and hopefully I can do that. So sharing. Can you see that? Let me see here. Okay, it's all right. Let's go here. Here we go. So that's the website. If you see this thing that says, where is it now? Donate right here. Donate button is right here. On that button, you will be able to get to the screen, and it says make a difference. And on that screen, you just go down, and here you see the different membership types. You can always reuse these buttons over and over to send in your donation. So right here, you could click on donate, and you will see, all the info there, and you could go ahead and click and make your donation. So it's not very difficult. Hope that helps. Let's see if we have any other questions. How can a 17-year-old donate that don't have any bank account? Alex Thomas. Very good question, Alex. The best way to donate if you have no bank account is to connect us, contact us. Go to the contact us page on the website and just type us a message and say, I would like to donate. Please contact me. I don't have a bank account, and we'll take it from there. Okay? What are your plans to connect with everyday Jamaicans and us here in the diaspora? Are you planning on doing more of these lives? Like most Jamaicans, I am tired of the traditional two-party corruption, but I need to hear more from the UIC. That's from Nadine Lindsay. All right, so Nadine, I will try to do more of these lives, and we are just about to kick off our next road show. So we're going on the road again. We've done one big one before, and we're about to do another one now. We're launching the Jump program, and we're doing a Jobs Expo next week, Thursday. Big Job Expo, where I invite you all to come out, and it's going to be 9 a.m. You're going to see a poster out soon on that. We're going to have a big expo for all the skilled workers in Jamaica. So all the skilled workers, especially those who are unemployed, we're inviting them out to come to a big jobs expo. We're going to have some employers there as well to share, what opportunities they have, and what you need to do to fill those positions. Basically, our goal is to make sure that we demonstrate to the Prime Minister that his idea of needing to import skilled labor into Jamaica may not be such a good one. In fact, it's a bad one. It's a sad one, because it says, in over 78 years, they have not been able to create a Jamaica with enough skilled labor for whatever needs to be done here. We have seen consistently the erosion of Jamaica's competencies, our ability to take on, our own roads or build our own schools and hospitals and so on. Every year we seem to be becoming less and less. A part of it may be that the government just has a preference for foreign skill as opposed to local skill. So we're going to have a job expo and show the Prime Minister the hundreds of thousands of Jamaicans who are here, who have left university and left Hart Academy and so on, or languishing at home, not having any jobs. So let's make sure they get the job first now before anybody else. Question from Silvercat. Mr. Patterson, something time in September of this year, we are going to hand out food to the homeless in downtown Kingston. We'd like to invite you to our give out. Would you be interested? Absolutely. Once I can make it, if it doesn't collide with something on my calendar, I'd be more than happy to come. Then we have Shekem saying, does the UIC have ads on the television, also billboards in rural and urban communities? No, we don't. We don't have any ads up because we can't afford it yet. Oh, now the messages are going very fast. Um, Thank you for offering yourself and experiences to Jamaica and Jamaican. I know this is very, very huge and a big job you took on. Yes, thank you very much. What is your plan on more training schools? Silver Cat, to be honest, we don't need more training schools. What we need is to use the facilities we now have to properly train Jamaicans for the 21st century. Our training is extremely behind, backwards, to be honest. Low quality, low standard in many respects. In some respects, we have done quite well in training people that were able to be absorbed into other countries. But we need to do a much better job. So it's not so much more training schools, it is proper training in the schools we now have. Yeah. Silver Cat, very good question. He needs to be seen more with the common people of Jamaica, says Douglas Allen. Um, yes, Douglas, I do need to be seen more, and I hope to be able to do so very soon. When you become Prime Minister, will you be open to reversing the NIDS program and replacing it with a more decentralized identification system based on blockchain? Lovely. Excellent question, Cardi. Um, I would most certainly get rid of the NIDS program and would be very, very interested in using blockchain technology to create uh, an ID system that does not give government or anyone, corporate or government, undue power to, you know, violate our rights because of the technology that they have at their disposal. So thank you for that. Please give me a call very soon. Paul Clark. Paul Clark, I don't know if I can do that, but send me a number and I will try. No promise here, eh? But I'll try. Trudy Ann McKenzie, just no cameras when shearing. I'm not sure what you mean here, Trudy. What you talking about? Frank Thompson says donate page not user friendly. I don't see where I can donate without signing up. Okay, good point. Let me do a quick check again over there and see um, you know how that works. I'm gonna try something here. Provide your basic info. All right, I did a quick check, and you don't have to sign up. It's just that you do have to provide identification. We need to know who is donating, and that's a part of the um, anti-money laundering and stuff. So we have to know who's giving to us. We can't just have an anonymous donor like that. The law doesn't allow that. So hope you understand. Okay, use slow mode to better catch the messages. All right, thank you, KB. And more, Mr. Patterson, do you plan on putting a planned parenting program in place for school-age children and also prevention? Interesting. And more, what we plan to do with the education program is it? Our plan is to really educate our children on what we call LEAP, Learning Enrichment Advanced Program. The nature of this program is to focus on the whole person. So I wouldn't call it planned parenting. It's more educating the child to understand their mind, their body, their personality, understanding relationships, family, romantic, business, social, understanding human behavior so they can relate well with each other, conflict resolution skills, those kind of stuff. And then number three, understanding money, the science of money, the history of money, you know, the whole business of markets, how markets work, uh, you know, economics, how politics and economics mix, how one influences the other, and so on, so that they have a really good understanding of the society in which they live. And then within that context, now they learn academic and professional skills, you know, the academics, math, English, and so on, and the professional skills, choosing an area of expertise that you're going to kind of specialize in, uh, you know. So within all of that, when you learn and understand yourself and all of that, then you can make good parenting decisions, good financial decisions, good business decisions, and so on. So that's the essence. I wouldn't. So it's not a matter of planned parenting, but that also have some connotations that I don't know if I want to get us into. Um, Anna says, I didn't hear where the event will be held. That's correct, Anna. It's going to be announced. Just watch for the flyers. As I'm speaking to you now, there's a team that's working right this minute to finalize the location and all of that. So stay tuned. You'll hear that very, very soon. Eh? Uh, then we have Celebrity Master Dub saying, also, please do not waste this valuable time to defending your system. I took so many time to know a lot about you, and that is what all must do. Okay, all right. I want to say thank you for that, Master Club, but I'm not too sure how to understand it. You said, do not waste this valuable time to defend your system. Hmm. I don't think it's a waste of time, you know, because there are many people out there who want to make a decision and they're unsure because persons are out there, you know, trying to um to mislead them, and I have to spend the time to answer questions. 1 second. Hello, Miss Burke. Yes, no problem. I'm on the live right now, talking with the people. So when I get a chance, I'll call you back and we talk. Okay. But let me just say this: I really appreciate you and thank you very much for the hard work you're doing. All right. All right. Take care. All right. So where was I? Uh, Back in the days, we had electrical installation classes, woodwork, sewing, so on in school. Yes, that's true, Jay. And we still have some of it today in school. I mean, I went to one school recently as a guest speaker, and they still have the sewing room, they still have the machine shop and carpentry and stuff. But here's the thing, much of what they're teaching is outdated. Right now, a dressmaker can't compete with the high volume automated systems that are producing a frock at a fraction of what the cost it would take a dressmaker to make it. So unless the dressmaker is going to specialize in some kind of high demand fashion, which requires handmade stuff, and you know, it's really a different market, a different niche from what's coming out otherwise. It's futile, you know. So we it's you can't just be an ordinary carpenter anymore. Yes, there's still some doing well and surviving, but all of that is going away, right? There are the high volume production facilities that are using robotics, you know, precision engineering to design and mass produce furniture, clothing, shoes, jewelry, all these things, right? They're making much of us obsolete. And so, if you still have a school system which is built off the model that you and I attended when we were kids, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. We're setting up our kids for failure. So they're gonna come out. with an education which is, for the most part, useless beyond being able to count, add and subtract and multiply and read and write. We need to really move our school system much further ahead, much, much further ahead. We need to bring our children now to be able to work in a knowledge-based economy where they are a part of the design, a part of the creation, a part of the advanced use of material, the advanced use of technology to produce products on a different level than what we're used to. Otherwise, we're just going to have a large, contingent of unemployed people. Crime rate is going to go up. People are going to become depressed. All kind of bad things are going to happen. You're seeing it already. So Jamaica needs a radical change in its leadership and the thinking of its leaders. You can't have politicians as usual, those who just come and mimic what the foreign masters tell them to say to you. You need political leadership that can transcend that kind of thinking and that kind of attitude. Jamaica right now needs a leader of the caliber of a Lee Kuan Yew. We cannot afford the kind of leaders we have now. They're wasting our time, they're wasting our resources, they're wasting our people, and they're setting Jamaica up for failure. I see them come with India coming to Jamaica. They said those days, I see the Prime Minister bringing back what we should have long passed. This idea of foreigners coming to our country and get excited that they're going to do something for us, those days are over. That was a wrong thing back then, and it's even more wrong now. Our people cannot afford to have the mindset of waiting for somebody to come and do something for them, waiting for India to come and teach them something, or to take your kids off to Indian school, or to come and put a building here for us, or to open an institute here. We're way past that. Way past that. We need a leader, we need a government that understands the reality and is able to communicate that to the people of Jamaica and lead the people out of the dungeon that they have led us into for the last 78 years. Thank you very much, Paul. I see the number. Could you please WhatsApp it to this number, please? One of these two numbers on the screen. Eh? Just WhatsApp it to one of those numbers on the screen. And remember, I tell you, I'm not promising you. I will try to get to you, but I'm not promising, right? Because it's when I get off this, I have a bunch of other calls waiting for me. Celebrity says, I'm currently a member who is following the UIC. Also, I have not donated yet, but this will be done. I currently recruit many to help you and our country. Thank you very much, Master Dub. Really appreciate that. Shop boss, job not okay, got it. Looking forward to return to Jamaica and work with you. Wonderful, looking forward to that too. Ritalin says, shop boss, what exactly are you asking about the 8 teachers who have passed? That was so sad to see the 8 teachers who have passed away suddenly. I don't know what the cause is, but we really need to have a special investigation on that. Yeah. And so I have called for this, and I hope all of us will call on the government to have a special investigation and tell us the truth, what happened with these teachers. Silver Cat says, what skill and strength can you bring to your position? Okay. Well, first and foremost, I am a CPA. I have more than 25 years experience in business, and some of it in government from a financial management perspective. I have worked in the school system as VP of finance for a school board, so I kind of have a bit of experience in the school system. I've worked in industry as financial controller, CFO, and CEO. I have served on international boards dealing with uh, at least in somewhere in the region of 146 to 150, 55 billion in Jamaican equivalency. Um, I have traveled to a number of countries and spent the time evaluating how they work or don't work and what we can learn from them, build on. Uh, my personal competencies are primarily in finance and business and strategy, um, risk management, that kind of stuff. Done quite well in the area of investing, assessing investments, um, you know, valuing companies and building systems and structures to help companies to work efficiently and effectively, while reducing the potential for loss due to theft or misappropriation. Also did quite a bit of work in designing HR, payroll system, as well as finance systems. So I think those skills are pretty useful. I'm not a politician, as you can see. I mean, I don't, I don't, I don't like politics, but I realize that politics is critical. It's crucial because politics determines if a country is going to remain poor or become prosperous. Politics determine whether you're going to have a lot of jobs in an economy or a few. Politics determine if you're going to have good roads or bad. And politics determine if you're going to have effective security or not. And so, because of that, and I realized the lack in Jamaica, I offered myself to see if I can help to address many of the inadequacies that I've seen. It was a blessing for me to have traveled and lived in Canada and seen some of the successes that they achieved in developing their society. And I've had the privilege to spend time in, in Africa, the Netherlands, Germany, um, Cuba. I've been to Cuba as well, briefly. Um, you know, Myanmar, been there, China, Beijing, been there, and just to see different things and how different things work in different countries and different cultures. And I've learned from all of these things, so I can bring all of this to the table in my role as uh, prime minister or whatever other function I evolve in. I think the key thing though is I have a knack for systems. I have a knack for building solid systems that work you know. And you will see that in the design of the system I made for Jamaica. I went to the university the other day and presented on the system, and the political science students were just blown away. They really loved the system that I designed for Jamaica. They believe it's workable, and they have looked at many other systems as part of their studies. So they were quite impressed to see that they now have a model which they've never read about before, never seen that model before, but this model so captures all of the elements to give Jamaica the checks and balances we need to build a vibrant, strong, and free economy. So, looking forward to that. Let's see. Question: is the UIC allowed to venture into business where funding would be maintained independently? Um, I'm not sure what you mean, Shechem, where funding would be maintained independent. I'm not sure what that means. Uh, I'm not sure what that means. Maybe let me see if I can take a stab at it. Are you saying can the UIC take, let's say, the members' donation and invest it in a business separate from the UIC, and that business operates independent of the UIC? I would say no. It would have to be controlled in some way, shape, or form by the UIC if it's going to be taking members' donations to do it. So it could be, though, a social enterprise that is owned by the UIC members through the UIC because we're doing a social enterprise, but it has to have an element of governance oversight by the UIC, even if it's operating, like a business on its own, but it would still have to have some connection in terms of governance oversight for it to be allowable. At least to me, it would need to be. Let's see what we have here. Lamar Pinnock there's an untraditional high school in the country who train their boys how to drive, operate forklifts and backhoes. Beautiful. Thank you for that, Ahmad. I love that. Then we have Mr. Patterson. I am for the workers. How would the finance minister address those workers' contract? How you stabilize that situation? Silver Cat, it's really, I'm amazed how long it has taken these two parties to figure out how to deal with, you know, um, workers. Uh, Workers are citizens. And what we have to do is to make sure that we create a set of regulations and laws that clearly supports the workers' rights and the employers' rights and reduce the conflict between the two of them by making it clear what their obligations are to each other and to hold both sides accountable for honoring their obligation on the contract. I think it's time for us to be open and honest with ourselves and with our people and with our children about the future of work. We have to move away from the model where work was designed so that the employee was almost like a child to the company, and the company was supposed to make all provisions for that child. Instead, I think we need to educate the child not to be a child anymore, but to be an adult. And therefore, you have an adult relationship between the employer and the employee, recognizing that both of them are one and the same. Each of us can be an employer, and at the same time, each of us can be an employee. So we are not to be fighting each other, employee versus employer. What we need to do is to ensure that each side, by virtue of the education system, is properly educated about their rights and their responsibility, and we build an economy based on value exchange, and we have such an educated class of people that they can then buy the kind of benefits that they need. So you would have, without, independent of the company you work for, you can buy unemployment insurance, you can buy healthcare insurance, you can buy into a pension plan. And the reason why that would work is that if you educate people, they will know that they're not depending on their employer to look after them like a baby, but rather they will be informed enough to make informed decisions for themselves. And the government now would not create artificial barriers to entry into different markets. They will not limit and prevent workers from investing in different investment vehicles that could serve as their way of planning for their retirement. So I believe in the model of education and empowerment rather than the model of paternalism and a kind of daycare economy, which really to me undermines the worker, because if the company fails, the worker loses everything. But the UIC model puts the worker always in the dominant position because they're not depending on the employer. They have an enabling environment so that they can make their own choices, their own healthcare choices, their own pension choices, their own education choices. And you have a multiplicity of options to choose from because the market is open, while the government focuses on preventing anyone from using force or fraud to get their way. So now when you're making your choices, you know that you're covered by the government for fraud. So if anybody tries to use fraud against you, you're covered. You have easy remedy in law. You're fully backed by the government against anybody doing anything fraudulently against you. So you can act now with a lot of greater certainty about your own decision making and do so intelligently and so on. I hope you understand. But that's really where I'd like to take the country. Let's see if we have any more questions. Exactly, sir. Jamaica needs to become advanced. Yes. Remember, to like, share, and subscribe. Uh, Thank you for saying that, Don. So everybody, like, share, comment, and subscribe, please, and thank you. Let me jump down to the bottom here, see if I'm missing anything. Uh, Jay Graham says, I know we need plumbers, electrician, welders. Yes, you're correct, Jay. No, don't get me wrong. We do need, no man, we need all these people. We need plumbers, we need electricians, we need welders. We need good ones too. But I'm saying let's make sure we also know that there's some other skills that we need that we don't have. Shop boss, I find it very impossible. How can that just happen? Okay, madness for real. Yes. Celebrity says, yes, I can read between the lines, and there are a few chats who is not taking a little time to look who you and the UIC mission is about. Believe, sign up, and get notification regularly. Thank you. So what Master Dob is saying, please encourage everybody to subscribe to our YouTube channel, UIC Liberty TV. Go to our Facebook page, sign up at UIC Jamaica, Twitter, Instagram, and so on. And when we'll work on that, I need to be there more actually on those other channels too. DJ says, after you are in power, what are your plans for the prime assets that are already sold to the Chinese and various other countries? Thank you, DJ. All of our prime assets must be used to benefit the people of Jamaica, but we have to respect contracts that exist, try to renegotiate the ones we can renegotiate, and make the changes we need to. It's a matter of if you sell your asset, right? Let's say you have a house and you sell your house, you can't just go back and take the house, but you can buy back the house or you can buy another house. So we can reclaim some assets, we can buy back some assets, but most importantly, our most important asset, the one that we have not really tapped into properly, is our human asset, our human capital. We have not done a good job of tapping into that. So my plan is to make sure we really ramp up our human assets for sure. All right, let's see what we have here. It says, a good debate with the other parties, what will get you into the homes of Jamaicans, okay? Cool Guy says, Mr. Patterson, when you become the country's leader, will you regulate the taxi or some other body to regulate fare hikes? Good question, Cool Guy. We have a pretty bad public transit system right now that needs to be rationalized. It needs to be reconfigured so that you balance the seller and the buyer, right? I do not believe in price setting because price is really just an indicator. No government can set prices and achieve anything good by it. So it's either you create an environment whereby prices generally will be lower because you have created more competition in the marketplace or more choices for the customer, or you get rid of the private market and put in place a public solution where you can then control the price that the customer pays, but remember, you still will have the cost. So oftentimes in politics, a game is played where politicians tell you that they can lower the price of something, whatever that something is. The truth of the matter is, it's really the cost you have to talk about. What is the cost and what is driving the cost? So if you have an inefficient system, the cost will go up. If you have a monopoly, which has no threat of competition, the price will go up. So if you understand economics, what you're going to do is to ensure that if it's a market-driven price, you create enough competition in the space to bring down the price. If it's a public good, meaning a public service that is best provided by the government, then what you do now, you create internal competition in terms of the kind of metrics that you put in place to measure the performance of those who are operating the system inside, so that they are pushed to deliver, let's say, good customer service, on time delivery, and do so within a cost containment bucket. But oftentimes, our government is either lazy or um, incompetent, so they can't really analyze that enough to make the decision. But if you are going to do it properly, you do have to do what I'm talking about. You have to do a proper um, uh, cause and effect analysis that shows the flow. Where are the bottlenecks? Where are the key points that you want to put certain incentives to change behavior? So you can have cost incentives you build into cost savings incentives you build into the system, customer service incentives you build into the system. This is free advice I'm giving the current government. If they're watching this, they're going to take it. But that would be good if they actually do what I'm saying. It would really save Jamaicans a lot of money, except that they're going to steal the money. They're not going to actually give you that money, right? So, yeah. Let's see what other questions we have here. Let's see here. Let's see here. Where is that? Um, what's your plan for JPS? My plan is to um, get rid of the monopoly called JPS and actually have a market-driven economy for energy. So we're going to have more energy suppliers in the country. We're going to make every homeowner a potential energy supplier, and really bring down the cost of energy by harnessing the sun on the thousands and thousands of rooftops that we have here, plus other mixes like bio and geothermal. So we're going to open up the energy sector so that more Jamaicans can import the technology, implement the technology, and sell back their energy to a public grid rather than a JPS, which is a private monopoly created by 78 years of mismanagement. So we're going to fix that problem. 1000% agree, says Carby. Very vague statements, says research unit. Research, tell me which one of the statements is vague, because, I don't think you expect me to be able to give a very, very nuanced response in a session like this. It would be would be here for about 5 days straight to be able to do that. Milton Friedman libertarian principles has already been shut down by several economists. What make you think that will work in Jamaica? I should know. I had a Milton student as my professor. So paper plate is saying that the principles I'm advocating are Milton Friedman libertarian principles. So, well, I can't argue with that if that's the way you see it. I mean, I don't know that having a free market is a bad thing. I think if you're going to be free, you have to have a free market. You can't have there's no way for you to have freedom where somebody dictates your economy. So if you have an economy where somebody takes away your right to trade value for value with your fellow human beings, then you're no longer free. So my approach to economics is quite principled, and it's based on the laws of economics, which are similar to the laws of gravity. The laws of economics, when we fail to follow them, it comes with grave consequences, which we in Jamaica have felt now for decades. For decades, we refuse to have a true free market in Jamaica, and because we refuse to have a true free market, we have stifled our people. We have killed banana, we have killed sugar, we have killed coffee, we have killed community tourism and created a foreign product that is controlled by a few people. We have killed our electricity. We have caused a monopoly to be created and protected by government. We have killed the banking sector and make it controlled by a small group of oligarchs, and deny the Jamaican people the freedom to create all kind of different community-based banking solutions. So I am a lover of free market. I love free market so much that I'm willing to die for it. Why? Because if you don't have a free market, what you have is a slave market. If you don't have a free market, what you have is a slave market. What you have is, and I know they have taught, you see what they do, and these people are so smart. They teach you to hate what is good and to love what is bad. You see, what they do with the bad, they make the bad so nice. They say, for example, we will have the community will own everything. For example, that's how they sell uh, um, collectivist ideas that are designed to make sure that they take away your wealth. So they said, we will own everything. Who is we? We is them. They said we and imply to you that all of us will own it. But what they mean is they will own it. They will own the government, and the government will own the thing on your behalf, and they will be able to milk you through your government. So don't let anybody fool you and use labels like libertarian and capitalist and all kind of labels in order to get you to shy away from what is in your best interest and run right into the arms of those who are actually going to kill you. Look at Jamaica. Jamaica has shunned and gone away from free markets for years and years and years. And all it has done is to make us poorer while they fill up our heads with all kind of nonsense about banning your belly, about sacrifice. All of them come and tell you the same thing. Every one of them tell us to sacrifice, sacrifice, sacrifice. And Jamaica is poised for growth, poised for growth, poised for growth. And they built a government-centric system. A government-centric system that then gets to control your economy, takes away your freedom to control your own economy. And then they control it and enrich a few and keep the majority poor. But they tell you nice words that they're, against free markets and all kind of stuff. Um, Sonia Jones says taxi charge what them feel like. And Ransford said, Mr. Patterson, we have been seeing some riff on some of the very same social media pages that with some very sad issues that we think you as a leader of the UIC need to address. Do you plan to address these issues as it does not, I would imagine you meant to say, does not look good for the party? Ransford, you might have missed the first 1 hour and 42 minutes of this session, but I've addressed all concerns raised. So persons have raised what you have raised, and I've addressed all of them. But please know, Mr. Ransford, Ron Smith, that this is normal. If a mango tree have ripe mango upon it, people going to stone it. So as long as the UIC is getting better and better, as long as we're getting stronger and stronger, we're going to have more and more attacks. So get used to it. So don't follow the naysayers, don't follow the noise. Help us to organize, organize, organize. Help us to raise funds, help us to build a movement. Don't worry about those who are going to spend their time trying to tear me down and to tear down the party while claiming that they're doing this because they love the party. Don't be fooled by it, okay? Silver Cat says, do your finance minister have a plan on the strength, how to strengthen the Jamaican dollar? The UIC has a plan on how to strengthen the Jamaican dollar. It's a very simple plan. The way you strengthen the Jamaican dollar is to make sure that we're exporting more than we're importing. It's that simple. There's no magic bullet. And the way for you to export more than you're importing is to make sure that your people are more productive than they are currently. It's to make sure that they have access to markets. It's to ensure that they have access to technology. It's to ensure that they have an education which makes them mentally superior or at least equal to their counterparts in other countries. So if our education system is not delivering quality Jamaicans into society, if our Jamaican people cannot have access to technology, at the level and price point necessary to buy them and invest in their local enterprises. And if they don't have access to capital because of the banking impediments and the government giving away our monetary policy to a private banking cartel together with $20.6 billion, if we don't address those things, the Jamaican dollar will continue to slide. And you know it will continue to slide because it's not today it's sliding. It has been sliding from 1962 until now. And every successive government in the early years told that they're the best one to solve the foreign exchange problem, the devaluation problem. And every single solitary year, generally speaking, they have failed. Why have they failed? Simple. They have not created a school system that produces the majority of our people coming out highly competent, skilled, and intelligent. They've not done that. They have not created a free banking system that would make having a bank account a right instead of a privilege. They have not been able to create a truly free market economy that's fair and free. And so, because of that, many Jamaicans who could have created, produced, and exported have been held back. They have instead invested in regulations that protect big business and oppresses small business. These are a few of the policies. And recently, they went a step further and relinquished control of monetary policy by giving the BOJ away. The Bank of Jamaica is no longer the Bank of Jamaica. They have taken the Bank of Jamaica and giving it to a banking cartel together with $20.6 billion Jamaican and say, hands off, we now have an independent central bank. And they're very happy. They clap and cheer for this, while not telling you that what they have just done is to make sure that our monetary policy is controlled by foreign agents, making decisions on our behalf for purposes that will not help the Jamaican people. Let's see what we have here. At the moment, JA is a self-reliant country. Everybody does as they please because the government don't want the headache of providing proper solution. I don't know what that means, Jay, in terms of the first part. It's a self-reliant. Jamaica is not self-reliant. Jamaica is a poorly governed country, which is very good at creating poverty, creating crime, and just wasting its people, wasting its assets, and when it can't waste it anymore, it gives it away, it sells it or gives it away for something. Uh, Reply to Ransford Ron Smith. He addressed them at the start of the live as I asked him about it. Thank you, Anthony. Research unit answering 1,000 questions will have that outcome. Okay. I believe you and the UIC can. Oh, by the way, it's not UNIC, celebrity. Or you keep saying UNIC. It's the UIC. I believe you and the UIC can benefit from Canada visit to please plan for and do so. Okay, thank you for that. Douglas Allen, Singapore has a free market for the most part. That's correct, Douglas. They do have a free market. In fact, as much as they claim that Lee Kuan Yew is a dictator, which is not true, he has been very, very keen on ensuring the Singaporeans have a free and fair market economy. Yeah. All right. Let's see if I can get to a few more questions before I have to wrap up. Where am I? Let's see here. Where is this? Okay. Thanks for this live. It's a breath of fresh air. Big up, says Duffus. Thank you, Duffus. Silver Cat. Does the UIC have a strategy? Oh, we saw that one. Same for internet providers, sir. Okay, true that. Paper plate. No such thing as free market in today's world. Corporations, time and time again, have showed us they own everything. Paper plate. Let's talk about that here. Who is a corporation? A corporation is a business owned by people. So let's take Jamaica. Jamaica's private sector. The private sector is you and me. We are the private sector. Anybody who is not a government worker is the private sector. So you have public sector, those who work for government, and private sector, those who work not for government. So corporations are not bad. A group of people coming together and forming a partnership and calling it a corporation, buying shares and pooling resources together and owning assets, building an idea, designing a strategy to produce a product and then sell that product into a market. That's a beautiful thing. The problem is when you have bad governance. We're now a corporation by virtue of a poorly designed system of government is able to use your government to give themselves undue advantages while suppressing and oppressing others in that economy. So corporation is not the problem. A business is not the problem. So business people are not bad people. Big corporations are not bad. What is bad is a system of government that allows them to do bad things to you. So if you have the kind of system the UIC is putting in place, our system divorces the corporation from the government and makes the government truly a regulating force. And by regulation, I don't mean now for them to write laws that benefits one over the other, but rather a regulating force that is going to ensure that no one is able to use unprovoked force or fraud to infringe on the life, liberty, or property rights of another. That includes a company, a big company. There would now be no regulations that causes a big company to be able to push out a small company. You understand? Because the competitive forces in the marketplace would be so strong that a small company can design a product and not be prevented from entering the market by the government. So let's say you have this very big company like IBM was back in the day. Very, very big company, massive company, whole heap of money, could easily dominate any market space. And just because there were no regulations in place to stop a small company like Microsoft at the time from being ingenious and creative and innovative and designing a new product using much less money than the big company, and then introduce that small product into the market. And the big company, because they had no government help to stop Microsoft and prevent Microsoft, then Microsoft becomes the big company and displaces the big IBM. You understand? That's what you want in an economy. You want to allow the people, the poorest of persons, the freedom to enter a market space because the government has made the playing field so accessible to all the players. The guy who have very limited resources is not prevented from competing with a massive conglomerate that has a lot more resources. I hope you understand what I'm saying. History has proven this. Anywhere we allow the market to operate properly, anytime government make a mistake and doesn't get involved in it, let's take ganja right now in Jamaica. If our government were to legalize ganja tomorrow and get rid of the regulations they put in place that prevents the small man from jumping into the space, stop criminalizing him, and stop putting impediments, regulatory red tapes in front of him, and high cost and barriers to entry in front of him, our little small men would find much better, more creative, more ingenious packaging and product designs to rival any and push it out into the market space, Jamaica's export goes through the roof. The only thing stopping them right now is government. Government has become the enemy of the people. They've tricked us into thinking that they're doing good when they come up with all their regulations. No, they're working for the big businesses and oppressing the small man. Let me see if I can get any more questions. Mr. P, can you define woman? Just Josh, what kind of question is that? If I can define woman. I think, okay, I'll answer it just for the fun of it. I think I know where you're coming from. There's this issue right now of gender confusion. Um, a woman is not a man, and a man is not a woman. The biology of a woman is different from a man. A woman has a vagina, a man has a penis. Yeah? A woman, is made up genetically, not genetically, but physically different from a man, normally. You might have certain physical variations sometimes in nature, like you have in any other species. But generally speaking, the woman biology is very distinct and clear from that of a male biology. And we should not confuse them, and we should not allow anyone to manipulate our minds into becoming confused as to who is a male and who is a female. I hope I answered your question uh, to the best of my ability. Let's see here. Is it impossible for you to do worse than what has gone before? I like your philosophy of self-reliance. Astra API, um, is it possible to do worse than what has been done before? Let me say this, that it is possible to do worse than what has been done before. It is possible. Um, One of the reasons why I deliberately created the UIC is because I know that worse can come. The worst thing that can happen to Jamaica is this: the people become so frustrated, so drained, so tired that somebody comes with a sweet mouth and offer them some sweet ideas, lie to them, boldly lie to them, powerfully lie to them, and get them to vote to become a dictatorship. That's what could be worse. And I must tell you, I have sleepless nights thinking about that possibility. That's why I created the UIC. If you notice, the UIC has a very important theme. It's about protecting the individual sovereignty of every citizen. That is the heart and core of the UIC. No other policy is more important than giving the black man true freedom, and the white man and the Indian and the Chinese. But because we are who we are and where we have come from, I talk about the black man because we need to reassert ourselves as a people, as a race. And so a part of that, and this is something many black leaders didn't quite fully understand, and that's why they misled, not intentionally, but they misled our people. Many of our black leaders led our people to believe that they should fight for equality. Big mistake. The black man should never have fought for equality. The black man should have fought for freedom. Equality means you want the right to sit at the white man's lunch counter, the right to sit on the white man's bus, the right to sleep in the white man's hotel. Big mistake. And I have nothing against the white man. I have the utmost of respect for the white man. I like what the white man has done for himself and for his people. Where I have a problem is with the black man and what the black man has done for himself and his people. The black man has misled his people into thinking that they should follow the white man in terms of consuming what the white man has and wanting to be accepted by the white man as equal. We never needed that. We needed to accept ourselves. We needed to have confidence in ourselves. So when the white man said whites only, we should say no problem. Blacks only. And whites are welcome too, so to speak. We should say your idea of whites only is fine. That's your idea. We want to say all are welcome here. Black, white, yellow, red. And we will build our own buses. And we will build our own hotels. And we will have our own lunch counters. And we will have our own school that teaches our history. But instead, our black leaders, misinformed, misguided, some paid off, led us to want to be equal with the whites. And so we fought to sit in their schools. Now, when you sit in their schools, what happened to you? Now you learn that white is better than black. You learn that everything bad is black and everything good is white. White is purity and black is evil. You learn that if you're going to be pretty and beautiful, your skin needs to be lighter and lighter. Your hair needs to be a different texture. Big mistake. We should have followed the Booker T. Washington model and build our own schools. We should have written our own history. So when our children read history, they don't read about George Washington and the Battle of Gettysburg or whatever and stuff. They read about that, yes, but in the context of the black man. And so they would have greater confidence in themselves. They should read about black heroes and black producers and black inventors as a norm in their storybooks, in their history books, in their science books, in their physics and chemistry books. That should have been there. Then they needed to see it in reality. The government needed to make sure that we had many black industries by having a truly free and fair market, which would allow now the black man to show his greatness. And he'll be able to compete on equal footing or better than any other race. But instead, our government, like you see right now in Jamaica, what is the Prime Minister doing right now? First, he brought some white people to see if he could dangle before us and dazzle us with some white people that he calls royals and which he worships and which he's happy to take their Queen's Counsel and so on, because he elevates those people above you, above me. They're important. And he brought that to see if he could win your affections with bringing some white folks to parade around the country as your superior, with their grandmother as your head of state, and our little black children pushing their hands through a mesh to try and touch them, and our people excited, and our rastas going and play for them, and all kind of stuff. That's the kind of imagery, that's the kind of thought process that he wants. And after he does that, and he heard a little bit of backlash, and he goes and he brings an African leader over to see, okay, let me dangle that before you to try to say I am Afrocentric or whatever, and he plays the game with you. Then he goes and draw for the president of India to see if he can play with you that way. No, we don't have time for that. What we need is leadership to get us to be producing, to be creating, and to be exporting all across the world. Not a leader that is telling us to depend on others for our identity or for our self-worth or for them to give us something, to beg something. He went to the US to go beg some money and to come back and let us cheer. We have gotten some money from our colonial masters. That needs to stop. That needs to end. Long time we should have gone. And we're still doing it to this day. when I was a boy, and the different political leaders would come home from America and England and so on, and gave announcements and say they got this multilateral arrangement or this IMF loan or this major grant or this donation of an ambulance or this donation. And my mom would be excited. I said, Mom, why are you excited? She said, what do you mean? We get this, see them come back and they come back and they say they have how much loan, how much money. I said, Mom, why are you excited about them getting a loan? Why are you excited about us getting a grant? Why can't we be the ones giving the loan? Why can't we be the ones giving the grant? Why we have to be the ones then begging all the time and hoping all the time that somebody will give us something? Why can't we stand up? And as I grow older, I'm talking with my peers, I said, look at it. Cuba is under an embargo. Right now, 60 years or so, Cuba under an embargo from the USA. Cuba, embargo. They can't trade freely with the rest of the world like Jamaica. They're being oppressed by America. But yet still, in all of their oppression, they are still able to produce more than Jamaica. Every time we need help, Cuba can come help us. They can send us nurse, they can build a school, they can send us vaccines. My God, we should be totally ashamed of ourselves. But instead, our leaders have no shame. They're happy with that as long as they remain in power. And they've made us into a licky society where as long as they can give us little gravy and tell us little nice things, we go back and vote for them again and allow them to continue to rape the nation. Yeah. So Vilma Daly says everyone eyes is on the donation. That's what causing the problem. That's what causing the rift in the party. Money, money, money. And Velma, I don't think so. No. They're just using that as a disguise for their true intentions. Their real intention is they want to take over this movement. I think some in the group may be paid operatives who have been sent to destroy the movement. Then there are some who want to take over the movement. And then there are some who are not smart enough to know the difference. And so you get a pool of persons now, some who have been misled by those who want to destroy the movement, some have been misled by those who want to take over the movement, and some are misled by those who are misled by those. They don't even know what they're fighting against. They don't know how to analyze, they don't know how to think through, they can't see through what is going on, they can't see between the lines, they can't. Then you have others now who are just being vindictive. They can't get their way. I am not responding fast enough to their phone calls. I am not responding fast enough to their directives. I am not allowing them to become my advisor. I am not, being the puppet that they would like to have on a string. And so because of that, they would like to hurt me. There's one guy out there right now, because I didn't read and do what he says I should have done, then his goal now is to say, watch me, I'm going to take you down. Watch me, I'm going to show you, I can break you. Because according to him, he made me. So he thinks he can break me, so he's going to go out there, and it's a vendetta that he's on now. It's not a vendetta. He needs to show that he can destroy Joseph Patterson. He needs to get rid of me and take over the UIC, give it to somebody else. Well, guess what? I have a funny feeling that Jamaican people are a little smarter than he thinks. I think a lot of people have seen quickly and clearly. He's not going to stop, they're going to dig up everything they can find. And I'll tell you what they're going to find. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The only persons they can fool are fools. Anybody who is unable to reason from cause to effect rationally, if they can reason rationally, they will not fall for this trick. they would be able to see clearly the kind of people they're dealing with. You watch out. We're going to come back next week again. We're going to go through the finances of the UIC again. Because the last one we did yesterday, I didn't like the way that went. It wasn't as complete and clean as it needed to be in terms of the presentation. I didn't have time to see the presentation before the meeting properly because I was busy with some other things. But I'm going to meet up with the finance committee and we're going to be back next week and we're going to do a very neat and clean and crisp presentation. And I'm going to slow down and take every question. We're going to go line by line by line of the financials. The same financials that must be given to the ECJ, the Electoral Commission of Jamaica. The same financials that has to be audited every year. I'm going to go line by line by line through that, and I'm going to show you, without a shadow of a doubt, that there's absolutely nothing at all that is even slightly wrong with the finances of the organization. Not even one penny of the donations to this movement has been even slightly misappropriated under my watch. Joseph Patterson, I can say this without reservation, is possibly the most honest politician, and that's what I am by virtue of what I'm doing. Possibly the most honest politician you'll ever meet. I have absolutely no desire and absolutely no interest in taking 1 cent from this organization unjustly, which is why after my finances took a beating, a battering, and still is being battered, I went to the NEC and requested that they make some provisions because I need to focus more on the work of the UIC, and I can't do that if my finances continues to be drained and drained and drained by my activities in the organization. And only a fool or a destructive element would not be wise enough to know that the first opportunity we get, we need to make sure we pay a small contingent of people to run this organization properly. It cannot be done on pure volunteers. That's ridiculous. And only an uninformed, unaware, or unintelligent person would think that we can build this party, this movement, the way it must be built without paying for staff to get the work done. I have been very upfront from the beginning, and I'm not going to squirm and try to twist and beat around the bush. We must compensate our core team to get the work done. And so right now we have 1 staff. By June 1st, we're going to have 2 staff. And with your help and your support, we're going to add more staff. Up until this point, I have not been paid. My wife has not been paid a cent. And you look at the audited financials when they come out. We have not been paid a cent for salaries or stipend by this organization. So don't let them fool you or even try to school you. We are going to win this fight against all of them and liberate this country no matter what them try to do. We're going to overcome. I see here Master Doug saying, I have said it before, the UIC manifesto is doable as long as all work together for one Jamaica. I know many who do not believe it is possible in this time, but as I see it, this is the perfect time. Absolutely, Master Doug. We can do it, and it is doable now. The UIC can actually win the next election, but only if we want it to happen. We are stronger than me. If we do it, it can be done. If we want it to happen, it will be done. Yeah. Carby says, um, what does Carby says here? Carby played, so a planned economy is a better economy, a better. Okay, no, I get it. Yes, Carby. I mean, it's Uh, by the way, even the word a planned economy is a misnomer. Uh, there's what is a planned economy? A planned economy is where you ask a group of people, usually the government, to say they're going to make the decisions for all 3 million of us. They're going to try to determine what you should eat, what you should wear, where you should live, how much you should pay for where you live, if anything, and all of that kind of stuff, right? It's really you becoming a slave. Because the moment you give that kind of power to anybody, to a government, you've just given up your right to be a free man or woman. Question: does England print Jamaica's money? The answer is yes. And how does that affect the Jamaican economy? Okay, the physical printing of the Jamaican money is not a major issue. I don't see the need for England to print our money. It could be Germany, it doesn't matter, or anywhere. I don't see the need for that. But the printing of the physical money is not the issue, even though there's a transaction cost to that, right? I mean, it means they're getting a piece of every dollar printed. So that's in itself is a bad thing. But the real issue is the monetary policy of the government. What is the monetary policy? And this government, like all the others before it, have bought into a monetary policy that allows the international monetary forces to dictate the volume of money in Jamaica and the price of money in Jamaica, and by extension, um, steal our purchasing power through inflation and devaluation, right? So, what a UIC government would do is to decouple Jamaica from that monetary system and introduce, first of all, free banking, and we will bring back the central bank into the hands of the government so that the bank is owned by the people of Jamaica through the government, and then write the regulations to be formula driven so that the government provides the supply of money that we need in the economy relative to the productivity of the citizen in the economy so that we maintain purchasing power over decades. So it means your child today who is 25 years old, who is entering the workforce, can save 10% of their income every month, for example, for the next 40 years until they're 65. And that money that they have saved, without earning a dollar of interest on it, would have the same purchasing power 40 years later as it has today. Now, that's good governance. That's true money. That's when your money is true and not fake. What we have in Jamaica today is fake money or fiat currency, which does not retain its value, which means it is not true money. Any money that does not retain its value generally over a long period of time is not money. So we are going to introduce into Jamaica for the first time real money, free banking, and a truly free and fair economy that will bring out the best in our people, maximize our productive capacity, and allow us to enjoy a higher standard of living than ever before. With our policies, we're going to surpass Singapore. In 10 years, we're going to rival Singapore on many indices. The only place we'll be lacking over the first 10 years is in the extent of our human capital growth, because that will take a few generations. But we have to start somewhere. But in terms of our productive capacity, in this policy, every year our production is going to grow in leaps and bounds just by liberating even the person you think is dunce. We're going to liberate the people of Jamaica and maximize their economy. Uh, all right. So let's see here what we have. Dogs don't bark at parked cars. I love that. Douglas, you are so effective in what you say. You know, you always have these very good statements. Christopher Skeet, good to see you on. Vote UIC, absolutely. Ken Francis, the strongest soldier, get the hardest fight. That's so true. Woman is the first, woman is the source, woman is the mother of the universe. All right, but say where I come from, Ben Israel. Uh, Paper plate says you're anti-government, yes, but pro-corporation. Same evil. Corporation dictates our life now with the help of the government. Paper plate, I'm not anti-government. I am anti-bad governance. I am pro-good governance, and I am not anti-corporation for sure. I am pro us cooperating with each other. So right now we have what we call the JUMP program. What is the JUMP program going to do? It's going to encourage our people to cooperate, to form cooperation, to work together, to invest together, to pool funds together, to invest in micro and small enterprises in their communities so they can build a grassroots economy that lifts their community. So yes, I am pro cooperation. I am pro us cooperating with each other to build wealth, to grow our economy so that we can have a better standard of living. And I am anti bad governance and I am pro good governance. So I hope that's clear. What is this now? Renaik, Everbless, Gardner. Would you build back the sugar industry? Absolutely. We will reinvigorate the agriculture sector. Now, sugar may not be the particular product because, in any particular economy, depending on where we are in history, you have to look at what is the most important product or set of products in which you have a competitive advantage. So it may no longer be sugar. It could, for example, be cocoa, yeah, or it could be ackee, or it could be mangoes. So we won't say which one. It's not sugar so much that we need to bring back. What we need to bring back is we have to capture our our competitive advantage, and that advantage is in agriculture. Our competitive advantage is agriculture and tourism in the short term. In the long term, as we build our human capital, we can emerge into the knowledge-based economy even more. But if we want to turn Jamaica around today economically, we can immediately get to the place where we rebuild our agri sector right across the board, right across every parish, even homes in places like Waterford, Edgewater, Independence City, in Portmore. Even there, you can teach the people and get the people involved in vertical farming, in rooftop farming, which would cool down the roof, by the way, and get the heat out. If you want to cool down your house, turn those slab roofs that you have up there into green spaces on the top where you're now farming. And you'd be amazed the impact you can have, with that in cooling your home and growing stuff on the sides that also help with the cooling process. So lots of opportunity. Water harvesting can be done very well in places like Portmore where they have a lot of water issues and South Central Elizabeth. So lots of opportunities. We're just going to look at now the new ways to do things. Yeah. How can a man fight what they love? Makes no sense. Again, excellent point, Ken Francis. Um, uh, then we have all because Mr. Patterson didn't push one man agenda. Yes, they want to kill me for that. Ken Francis, if I disagree with something or someone in the movement, it's simply set aside or talk to someone who can help resolve the issues. Yeah, and sometimes, there's no issue, You just have to accept that you're not God. So I don't have to listen to you. If you give me a suggestion, I don't have to take it. If I give you a suggestion, you don't have to take it. If I send you a 10-page document and say, follow this document, you don't. Just tonight I was talking with one of our members, and the member is not very well, and I gave the member some suggestions for how to possibly get well. If the member doesn't follow my suggestion, I don't need to go online and tell everybody how bad he is because he didn't follow my suggestion. I'd be very foolish to do that. It would be very childish to do that. So if I don't follow your suggestion, it's not the end of the world. Maybe you can just come down to Jamaica and implement your suggestion. Maybe you can go and form a political party. All these people who want to take away the UIC, all they have to do is go and form another party and show us how it's done. Show us how effective they would be at getting things done. They don't have to fight with me for the UIC. They just leave me alone, leave the UIC alone, and go over there and start another party and show us that, listen, Joseph, your leadership is very bad. Watch us and look at how good we are at leadership. You don't need to come and take the UIC in order to show that you're a good leader or a better leader than me. Just to form your own party. Go and create your own. Go and do the hard work that I did and create your own. And show us a better example of how you can get it done. That's all you have to do. Instead, you're wasting your time and energy trying to destroy my credibility and my character instead of going and doing something useful with your time. Go and create a party, man. Go and design something yourself. Spend the time and energy and design something yourself. If you can't help me to build, go build your own. Don't come and fight me for this one. Go and build your own. You can't go and take away Twitter. You can't go and take away Microsoft. You can't go and take away any of those other things. So you have strength for me. Many of you don't like the JLP or the PNP. You can't go and take it over. So what do? You turn your attention to little me and our little party that we have started here, and you want to come and take it over and fight me for it. No, man. Very bad. Cardi, paper plate is saying, I do not, but also believe there is no such thing as a free market. Name one successful so-called free market. Paper plate, that's not the way to look at it. You can't say there's no such thing as a free market or name one such thing. You see, that is a fallacy, right? The idea that something doesn't exist right now doesn't mean it cannot exist. Can you imagine if you were born 100 years ago and somebody tell you about a smartphone with all the features that we have on these phones today? If you're born 100 years ago, you might say there's no such thing, and you're saying it as though it cannot happen. But it can happen, because it has happened. The amount of miracles that has happened in the last 100 years. We now even have driverless cars. Unbelievable. When having a car was not conceivable a few years ago. People were riding horses. So let us not major in the impossible to say what cannot be done. Let us say, how can it be done? Because a planned economy has proven to be a failed economy. We've seen the failure here. Take a look at China, for example. China had to give up the idea of trying to run China on a full planned economy. They had to allow a great degree of free market in order to get to where they are today. Now they're trying to curtail it, and every time they try to curtail it, it's simply going to damage their economy. They will have to open it again if they want to get, because the more they, watch what China is doing. China is now clamping down on the free market that they have allowed a little bit of. As they clamp down on it, many Chinese are exporting their money out of China. This is creating a huge problem for the Chinese government that they're trying to solve. China also did a planned economy as part of this market economy when it comes to the housing market. That has created an oversupply of housing. in China, and therefore have forced many development companies into bankruptcy. You see, you cannot mess with the market. What is a market? A market is simply people buying and selling from each other. That's a market. They've even taught us to hate the word market. When we talk about a free market, people get it up in arms. And it's a bad word. No, it's not a bad word. A free market means you and I are free to trade with each other. And when we try to take that away, what we're doing is taking away our freedom and replacing it with what? When you take away freedom, what do you replace it with? Slavery. You replace it with a government having the authority to say, you know what? Because we have this power, we're going to take away this other freedom from you. So we don't want that. We need to make sure we don't have that. Let's wrap up now. So Porter says, so true. They will always going to try to throw blow at your great efforts. Yes. Paper plate, describe your preferred alternative. How would you manage corporate abuse? Well, Carby, what is corporate abuse? I already tell you what our economy is based on. In the new economy, in the UIC economy of a truly free and fair market, everyone will be free to trade with each other, value for value, and anybody who tries to use force or fraud would be branded a criminal, charged, arrested, and prosecuted accordingly. Yeah. So in the new economy, the UIC economy, there's no such thing as corporate abuse. What you have instead is, have you, any one of us, whether you're a corporate or an individual, have you used force or fraud to try to get your way? Whether you're a one man, a sole proprietorship, two men or a few, a partnership, or another structure, call it a corporation or anything else. Once you try to use force or fraud to get your way, you have broken the law and you're going to pay for it. Let us not allow them to twist up our minds with phrases like corporate abuse or that corporations are bad or whatever. You can't label anything as bad, any particular group as bad. It's their actions you have to worry about. So a person who dressed up in a monk or a monastery suit doesn't make him good or bad. What you want to look at is, what has he done? Has he used force or fraud to take away the life, the liberty, or the property of another person, or an institution, or a government? Has this person or group of persons used force or fraud to take what belonged to somebody else? That's the crime. I know they've given us all kind of different configurations to confuse us and to make life complicated and to do all kind of shenanigans. But the bottom line is, that's why in the UIC system, everybody is equal. Prime Minister, President, Senator, MP, Councillor, garbage collector, handcart pusher, everybody is equal. Because anybody that uses force or fraud to get their way will be punished. Anybody who uses force or fraud will be punished. And so the fundamental principle in the UIC Jamaica is that all of us are sovereign, all of us are free. Our life, our liberty, and our properties are ours to do as we please, provided we do not use force or fraud to infringe on the life, liberty, or property rights of any other citizen. That's the core. The rest of them are just regulations designed to support that concept throughout all of society, be it in government or in a bar. We're not going to have this two-tiered thing. What goes for the goose goes for the gander. The politician, elected or otherwise, is going to have to face the same set of laws and rules as everybody else. No special treatment. because you are president or prime minister. You break the law, you're going to suffer the consequences. Yeah. So we have here, free market will force Jamaicans to think and use their brain for survival. Absolutely not. It is going to cause us to do better. Ken Francis at Paper, Jamaica will have the first such market, but Egypt had such market in the past. Okay. Joe Steers says UCI, not sure why. And Orton says reply to Christopher Steed, definitely. And Don says, Mr. Patterson, how will you use the JDF to stop the flow of illegal gun shipments in the island? Will you do special operations using the police and army to search the wharf? Very good question. The UIC is going to separate the army and the police. The police will do police work, and the army will do the army work. And one of the key work of the army, we're going to fully deploy the army, fully deploy the army to protect the borders of Jamaica. They're going to make sure that nothing comes in that shouldn't come in, and nothing goes out that shouldn't go out. We're going to lock down the borders. You're going to see illegal guns and ammunition drop by vast percentages every single month until we're a pretty much cleaned up country when it comes down to illegal guns and ammunition. And our police is going to have a different tactical approach. They're going to become embedded into the community. We're going to have a mix of different strata of police officers that are embedded in their communities to prevent the crime in the first place, to build confidence in the community that they can trust the police. You can report things quickly and safely without worrying about being victimized in any way. So a whole new approach to policing and the army. Yeah. Carby says at Paper Plate, actually, I can't argue with you on that. When you take a closer look at the world, no market is truly free. You're 100% right about that. However, the UIC manifesto would create one. Thank you so much. What is your plan for JPS? I spoke to that earlier on. We're going to open the market for energy. So JPS will no longer be a monopoly supplier of energy. We're going to have multiple sources of energy across the country, including allowing all citizens free and easy access to sell energy and sell water back to the grid. So like customers like me who have built my own energy storage facilities and water storage facilities, I'll be able to, if there's a need across the grid, to sell some of my water back into the grid and sell some of my electricity back into the grid. And this in turn will provide a greater supply of energy and reduce the price point to customers. Jamaica will never get better under the PNP and GLP for change. That's true. Thank you, Zay. And what's this now? Maisie Miller says, full time for a change, vote UIC for a change. And Shock Boss says, Mr. Patterson, they're listening and stealing your ideas, so I think you should wait until you're campaigning. You reveal them. I know, Shock Boss, but I can't wait because you see, it's a catch-22. If I don't share with you and the viewers now, they won't know what we're offering and they will not be empowered and inclined to give us their support now. I need you to vote now, not at the election. The vote has to happen now. The people have to be convinced now before election. So vote now by donating, vote now by volunteering, vote now that by joining, so we have a groundswell of members so that we can communicate with you quickly and we can work together to bring the change. So I have to tell you, I know they're going to steal idea in optics. So they're going to use my words. They're going to repackage my words and say them back. But we know they're not going to do it. They've had 78 years to do it and they didn't. So give them another 78 years, you won't get anything. Okay? All right. I am now out of out of ammunition. I have to go and deal with some other matters. So thank you so much for your time. I see lots of comments here that I'd love to respond to, but boy, it's a whole heap. I can't spend any more time now though. I have to go. I have an early morning tomorrow. I have some unfinished client work I have to finish up. Otherwise, I won't get paid, and my wife might divorce me. So, thank you all for your contributions, for your time, for listening, for caring, and I look forward to us doing this again soon. Yeah, at our earliest convenience, we shall get together again and chat some more. And please continue to support the movement, donate to the movement, join, volunteer, donate, and when the time comes, if you can, vote UIC. Have a good night, all the best, and talk to you soon.